All right, we are back. Another NFL season is upon us. It is also season eight. Eight seasons so far of Season of the Fan, the Philadelphia Eagles, and I mean, what can you say, right? A new season, a new page, a new chapter. And it isn't. It is exactly a new page and a new chapter because we have a new head coach, a new coaching staff in place right now, some new players. Jalen Hurts is going to be the starter this season, replacing, of course, Carson Wentz last season during the season and that tumultuous season that it was. Just a lot of the craziness, a lot of the drama is gone now. Carson now with the Colts. Of course, Doug Peterson was let go. And the Nick Sirianni era is officially in place right now. A young coaching staff as well, young players, a young offense. If you really think about it, I know they have some elder statesmen still on the offensive line, which is good to have, and also Zach Ertz is still here. It's kind of surprising, but I'm glad. Hey, I mean, a veteran leader. You do still need some veteran leaders and leadership on a team, still with a lot of young players, a lot of youngsters, and I'm excited. I really am. Do I have lofty expectations for this season? No. Do I think they could be potentially in the race for the division? I do, because I still don't think the division is going to be great. I know the football team won it last season. Kind of the Eagles kind of handed it there at the end of the season to the chagrin of Giant fans who were hoping what were the Giants like, a 6-win team was going to win the division, but it is what it is. And then the Eagles got the Giants again this off season by being able to leapfrog them to draft Devonta Smith, a guy I'm very high on. Listen, I mean, we challenge Howie when there's time to challenge him, but we gotta praise him when there's time to praise him. And I know, look, I mean, I like Devontae at Alabama. I thought he was a difference making receiver there. Obviously, he put up big numbers in the toughest conference to do that in, and winning a national title again last season, winning the Heisman, playing in the toughest conference in college football. I have said this for years, and I don't want to sound biased because I know you can get great players in non-power conferences. It's been proven time and time again. The Eagles have done it in the past. But at the same time, they were just way too, for whatever reason, in recent years, the Eagles were kind of dependent on the Pac 12. And I didn't quite understand what all this love affair with the Pac 12 was for all these years with Howie and the powers that be, right? Again, we're not in the war room. We don't really know. We can just speculate, right? Why do they keep drafting Pac 12 guys? There's other conferences, including power conferences and teams that routinely produce big time NFL talent, and you're not picking from those trees, right? Well, finally, they did. And they got some Alabama guys. They got some Bama guys, right? They got Smith. They got Dickerson. You could say Hurts was there too because Hurts was the starter at Alabama years ago before going to Oklahoma. But listen, you got some guys who played college football at the highest level, played in playoffs in college football, won championships, had success, and you got Festive. Don't fumble the ball. You got those you got those guys now, right? Devonta Smith was a great pickup. And listen, people say, "Oh, he's undersized." Well, okay, we're gonna see. Okay, there have been undersized wide receivers that have went on to have Hall of Fame careers. And I'm not giving him the gold jacket just yet. Okay, but by the way, speaking of Gold Jacket, a big shout out and congratulations to, speaking of great wideouts, right? And the Eagles wideouts, Harold Carmichael, right? Making the Hall of Fame finally and well deserved this offseason. He gets that Gold Jacket. Of course, he would have been in, but the COVID happened last season. Otherwise, he would have been as part of the induction ceremony a season ago. Of course, it didn't happen because of COVID. But this offseason with the Hall of Fame, he gets in there. Well deserved. Still holds Eagles wide receiver records all these years later, and a gentleman and a true ambassador for the Philadelphia Eagles and the great number 17. I think that number should have been retired. I just do. I think 25 should have been retired for Tommy McDonald. I think 17 should have been retired for Harold. I think there are teams that get a little too number retirement happy. Um, yeah, in sports it can happen, but I think that there were two guys. Look, I mean, Tommy's a Hall of Famer, Harold's a Hall of Famer. They were great Eagles, and I do believe their numbers are should be hanging, with the other greats. Now, I do know that there have been other Eagles that have worn those numbers proudly and have had success in them. Shady McCoy wore number 25. And I know it didn't end well with Alshon, but look, he helped us win the Super Bowl. He had a touchdown catch in the Super Bowl. But at the same time, listen, off topic here, but congratulations to the great Harold Carmichael induction to the NFL Hall of Fame. And another Eagle makes it into the NFL Hall of Fame, which is always great, right? But no, Devonta Smith, I'm a believer in the guy. I really am. Really liked him at Alabama. I didn't think the Eagles were going to draft him because of Howie over the years. I mean, Justin Jefferson, Metcalf could have been Eagles, weren't Eagles because they wouldn't draft them. They went in another direction. It didn't quite work. And those two have had phenomenal careers so far and young careers to this point, but still very good careers so far for those two. And the ceiling is still there for those two that continue to have success. So it was needed that Howie had to get an impactful player at the wide receiver position, and I think they did that in Devonta Smith, the Slim Reaper, with the Eagles right now, wearing that number 6, which of course he wore in Alabama. Excuse me. Very well. And there have been guys in this town that wore number 6 pretty good. and former champions, and Dr. J, of course, and Ryan Howard. And we're going to see. We're going to see what happens with the Slim Reaper. But I'm excited. The guy is a great route runner. He's quick. He knows how to play that position pretty good. He played it in the toughest conference in college football at the highest level. And he was rewarded with the Heisman. He was a champion last season, balled out in the championship game. I did not. I was hoping he would be drafted by the Eagles. I didn't see it coming because of Howie, because of what they didn't do in recent years. But I'm glad he's here, and I think that was a great pick. I think Dickerson was a really good pick too. I know he's not. He's probably not going to get too much playing time this season, but that's a value pick because you do need to keep the off. One of the things that the Eagles have been really good at, and I know we fault them for things, but one of the things they have been really good at is that eye for the offensive line. They have always put together a good offensive line. They've drafted well at that position. I know people thought, it's a reach in the second round, it's a reach. I think that it was a good pick because, listen, Kelsey can't play forever. As much as we love him, and he is going to be one of the all-time great Eagles, of course. Talk about guys who could be in the Hall of Fame, right, when his career is all said and done. Could be Jason Kelsey. Peters is probably going to be a Hall of Famer, too, speaking of Eagles offensive linemen. Yes, I'm glad they didn't bring him back, though. That was once too often. And hey, listen, shout out, congratulations to Jordan Mailata, who got extended yesterday, 4-year extension. We're going to see. Listen, they drafted this guy. He was raw. I mean, talk about guys at his position that was completely raw. They drafted him. They developed him. And we're going to see. All right, now he's the guy at left tackle. Those are, hey, look, you're filling the shoes of a future Hall of Famer. We're going to see. We're going to see. I believe in the kid. I think he's going to do good. But again, until he actually does it, until he's in the trenches, literally, for a season, we're going to see. Now, they gave him a vote of confidence with that extension yesterday. I think it was warranted. Left tackles, listen, you want to have a solid left tackle. This franchise has been pretty blessed at the left tackle position for many years. I mean, you go back to Trey Thomas and continuing on with Peters. They have been very fortunate, for many years, right? The blind side of your quarterback. We know what they have it right. Now, Lane Johnson has to stay healthy, which has been an issue. Brandon Brooks has to stay healthy, which has been an issue, right? But hopefully they can do that. At least stay, healthy most of the season, right? You can't always expect. Sometimes if players get hurt, particularly at the offensive line, it happens. It's a repeating process. It's a tough position to play, right? You're right in there. You're right in the action, right? A lot of things can happen. You get rolled up on, all sorts of things can happen, right? The offensive linemen, always shout out to them, man. They just do yeoman's work every season. But Lane and Brandon back this season, hopefully will be healthy. You got Kelsey at center. We're going to see Simon at the other guard position. But hey, look, Dickerson can play guard. He can play center, so he's valuable in that respect. He can play multiple positions on the offensive line. He can fill in if he's healthy. He can fill in for one of these guys if they do go down, right, at guard. Look, we have been very fortunate with the center position. Jason Kelsey not only has been a wonderful center for many years, he's been healthy. I mean, talk about an Iron Man. He just never seems to miss a game, right? He plays through pain. He plays through a lot of things. And he has been a tremendous Eagle, and of course he gave the greatest Super Bowl parade speech that you're ever going to have in the Mummers outfit, which would be just, if the day does come, and I do believe he will be a Hall of Famer at the end of the day, he's got to don that outfit and the Hall of Fame speech too, doesn't he? Down the road, right? However many years down the road it's going to be. But no, you do have a solid offensive line in front of a young quarterback. And let's talk about that quarterback, right? Let's talk about Jalen Hurts. This offseason, look, there was a lot of talk, and I'm glad it didn't happen, because there was a lot of talk about Watson and, yeah, Mr. Massage, did you really want that, here? With all that drama that we just had a season ago that was out the door now, we're going to go with more drama. I mean, he is a talent. I'm not taking anything away from what he does on the field. I liked him at Clemson. I did. I think he's done great things with a very poor organization with the Houston Texans. But there's just too much baggage with all this massage and this and that, all this stuff that's going on, and who really knows. But it just, again, a talent on the field, but just way too much with that. And we didn't need that this season. We just didn't. Not with a first-year head coach. If you had an established coach, right? Look, years ago they got Mike Vick. But what was the difference then? They had Andy Reid. They had an established veteran head coach, right? And they had a lot of veterans in that locker room. Okay, a lot of leaders in that locker room. They do have leaders now, but they had leaders there. They had a veteran coach and a veteran coaching staff in place to be able to handle everything that kind of came with Mike Vick coming back into the league, right? Completely different situations, I get it, but you had more veteran leadership there on the coaching staff and in the locker room than you have now. So you bring Deshaun Watson in now with all this stuff. On a young team, I just don't know if that's a recipe for success or not. I just don't. A talent that he is, and if these allegations, what happens with them happens, but I just didn't think that this was the time to make a move like that. And I, as an Eagles fan, I want to see what Jalen Hurts is, because I believe that he can be a very good quarterback in this league. I think he needs to improve on some things, but I think he's willing to do it. I mean, him and Ben Simmons are two completely different ends of the spectrum. The things that Ben Simmons needed to improve on, he just wouldn't do. But I see Jalen Hurts wanting to do it. All right, is he a perfect passer right now? No. I can see him improving in that. Listen, there's been quarterbacks that have come in the league, Hall of Famers. I'm not saying he's going to be a Hall of Famer, but Hall of Famers that have come in the league and had to improve on their passing game. And they did, because they wanted to. They had that want to. They had that they want to be great. The greatness factor. They want to be great, right? Tom Brady did it. And, yeah, you can't compare anyone to Tom Brady but Tom Brady. But Tom Brady did it. Other quarterbacks who have gone on to have great careers in the NFL have done it. You got to work on your game. Listen, not everyone's going to come in the league and they're going to be Patrick Mahomes. That doesn't happen. That's a rare thing, right? Particularly at the quarterback position. You got to grow. You got to grow into being an NFL quarterback. There's a difference between being a college quarterback, even playing at the highest level in college football, and being an NFL quarterback. There's a big difference there, right? The competition's better. things happen quicker. There's a lot of decision making. You have to be quicker. There's a lot of things that happen that you have to grow with in that position. And as Eagle fans, we have seen players that have been able to do it, and we have seen players that weren't able to do it. Okay? I think that this kid, though, has a chance to be able to do it. And I'd like to see him grow. Listen, it's been so long. We thought it would be Wentz. We were wrong. It wasn't Wentz. Okay? It's been so long that we've had a young quarterback and a coach be able to develop together as a Philadelphia and being with this franchise, right? I mean, I can't really remember a coach and quarterback that have done it since McNabb and Reed. Those were the last two. I mean, look, it could have been Wentz and Peterson. It wasn't. It wasn't. Okay? There have been other quarterbacks that have come in, not quite got it done. Other quarterbacks, other coaches not quite get it done. We have a chance right now to have that with Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. And I'm willing to give them the time and chance to do it. Listen, this season I'm not expecting Super Bowl. I'm not expecting great playoff success. Maybe we make it in as a division champ or something like, in this division. I don't think it'll be a wild card, but I think possibly as a division champ in this division, the way things are set up right now. But even if they don't, I'm okay with that. This season is about growth. This season is about growing and seeing what we have with this young coaching staff and, for the most part, a young offense and some players on defense too, but primarily with the offense, the defensive systems, the offensive systems, how this team's going to grow in it. And look, are you going to learn everything about this team in one season? No, but I think you can get a good kind of blueprint put together and going forward into the seasons to come. And for me as an Eagles fan, I would love to see a young quarterback develop on this team. Listen, they said it years ago, right or wrong, right? Quarterback factory. Well, to be a quarterback factory, you do have to develop them. Okay? And Carson Wentz, I just think was an incomplete picture, but not quite there, right? Nick Foles is already in the league, right? They didn't really develop any other quarterbacks that kind of came and went from here in that time, right? So they have a chance to do that right now with Jalen Hurts. And I see him as a guy that wants to learn and wants to get better. I mean, he was put on trial by fire already in college. Yeah, he lost his job to Tua. He goes, he makes good at Oklahoma. Wanted to prove it that he could still be that guy, and he did. He had a fantastic season at Oklahoma, right? Got drafted in the second round by the Eagles. People would say right or wrong when you already had the quarterback in place, but okay. Got drafted in the second round, and look, was put into the fire last season. Incomplete. I give the grade last season incomplete. Just look, you can't tell a lot from a guy. It just gets thrown in, right? You don't go into the season knowing you're going to be the number one. You don't get the number one reps in week to week, right? That was still Wentz last season. But I saw a spark. I saw a spark. Was it enough for me to say, oh yeah, let's just give him a 4-year extension, whatever? No. I want to see what he does this season. I want to see how he competes and how he plays this season. I saw some things in him last season, right or wrong. I saw some things out of him last season. I loved how he played against the Arizona Cardinals on the road. I thought that was a really good game by him. I thought he was impressive. Going kind of throw for throw with Murray there for a time in a shootout type of game. I think he showed a lot, and that was one of his first games as a starter. He won against the Saints at home. Again, look, it was incomplete. The season was tail spinning. There was a lot of drama in the locker room. But I think, as you see right now, I think Jalen has that locker room right now. He's the guy, and he went through an offseason getting the number one reps, knowing he's going to be the guy. Now, we can say, oh, they didn't really announce it till late. He was the guy. All right, it wasn't going to be Flacco going into this season. Certainly Minshew Mania, who was traded. It's not going to be Minshew. It's going to be Jalen Hurts. And look, I know I don't want to sound like I'm gushing here, but I'm excited as an Eagles fan to see that growth. I want to see a young quarterback and a young coach grow together. Look, all these other teams have done it, right? The Eagles haven't really done it since Reed and McNabb. I mean, as far as consistent, over the years really grew that quarterback and that coach. They kind of grew together, right? Reed and McNabb. We haven't had that since that. Again, it was incomplete with Peterson and Wentz. It could have had that, but it was incomplete. We have a chance now with Sirianni and Hurts, and I want to see it. I do. And I know this next offseason, you're going to hear the rumblings, Watson or Wilson or Rodgers. Listen, to me, in my mind, if Hurts proves himself this season, and whether it's a playoff year or not, he proves himself, and this offense is clicking and making plays week to week, I'm fine with him. I don't need Wilson. I don't need the massage guy and Watson. I don't need Rodgers and his belt. Okay, I'm okay with Hurts. If he proves himself, I believe he will, and he has young receivers to grow with, young running backs to grow with, a good solid offensive line in front of him. Good tight end play. I think that he has a chance to really improve and prove himself this season that he can be the guy going forward. And he and Sirianni can grow together with the Philadelphia Eagles in this franchise going forward. I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see the young receivers, speedy receivers, fast receivers. Listen, we haven't had a young crop of receivers really together since, what was it, Deshaun Jackson, Jeremy Maclin, and Jason Avant. I mean, you have to go back many years for that, right? I mean, the tail end of the Andy Reid years. My goodness, it's been a long time. Right now, listen, who knows? Who knows what these guys are going to be? We're going to see today against Atlanta going forward in the weeks to come. As far as the schedule goes, it's pretty top-heavy when you look at the talent that they're playing. You got the 49ers next week in the home opener. You got Kansas City coming up, right? The defending AFC champs, and Andy Reid again returning to Philly in that game, right? Then you have the defending champs and the GOAT and Tom Brady, right? All early season games, all home games, by the way. You play a bulk of your divisional games towards the mid and end of the season, which I like. I think that's good. I like that in the schedule, particularly if they're in a divisional race with the football team or Dallas or whatnot. But you're going to play Dallas week 3 in a primetime game in Dallas, and then after that, you don't see a divisional game until towards the end of the season. Again, I like that. I think that's cool, particularly if there's a race going on there and you got these head-to-head games coming up with like the football team or Dallas or who knows. At that point, the Giants, who knows, right? You play them later in the season, and okay, if we're still alive for a divisional championship, we'll take our chances then. Again, this season, to me, and it's hard to say this because as an Eagles fan, you want them to win, right? To me, I'm okay with a non-playoff year if I see growth. If I see growth in this young coaching staff, if I see growth in these young players, particularly the quarterback, Jalen Hurts, young receiver core, which I'm excited for. Like I said, I've said this. Look, my next Eagles jersey is going to be a Devonta Smith jersey, okay? So I'm excited for him. I want to see how he grows in the NFL, how these other young receivers grow in the NFL. The running game. Listen, what we do know, we don't know a lot about Nick Sirianni, but what we do know from the Colts, they ran the ball. They were okay with running the football, which Doug kind of got away from over the years, right? Kind of got away from that, right? Now you have Sanders, you have some other young backs here, a good offensive line that wants to run block. This is one of the best offensive lines for run blocking in the league. Let's use it. Okay, so I'm excited to see them. Hey, maybe they do mix in a running game with the passing game. It's a passing league, I know. Everyone throws the football around, record-setting, numbers, right? But you can have success offensively also running the ball. Okay, and I'm excited to see if they can implement a running game more so than the last regime did, right? And speaking of the last regime, I will say this, and this is the last time I really want to bring them up, right? I will give, because it's about turning the page and moving on, I do want to give a lot of credit, and I know it didn't end well, but I will always give credit to Dougie P and what he did and helped this team to win that banner, right? That Super Bowl. First franchise Super Bowl in franchise history, right? And there's a lot to be, look, winning is hard. We know it is. This fan base certainly knows how hard it is to win a Super Bowl and to have sustained success. which, by the way, this franchise really hasn't had since Andy Reid. Okay, if you really think about it, if you boil it down. Uh, I do give a lot of credit to Doug Peterson and that coaching staff and those players for what they were able to do. That ride that we had back in 2017 will always be remembered, will never be forgotten about, will just be cherished. It is about moving on, though, and I give him a ton of credit. I don't think it was all his fault. I think he was kind of tossed under the rug a little bit. It's hard. Listen, he was the first ever Super Bowl winning coach in franchise history. He had a quarterback. Obviously, they weren't on the same page. Carson regressed for whatever reason. Regressed from what he was in 2017 to what he was last season. It was tough to watch. It was a train wreck. It really was. Now, I don't know what he's going to do with the Colts. Already there's rumblings, right, with him with the COVID and the, not getting the shot and everything, whatever. He's not a locker room guy, right? But we knew about that here. And there was rumblings about that here. So I don't know what he's going to do. As an Eagles fan, it would be okay if he had success this season because then we get that number one, pick from the Colts. We'll see. He has to get, 75% of the snaps, and they make the playoffs, and we get their number one pick. So who knows, right? But we move on from him. We move on from Dougie P. And we're going to see what Nick Sirianni has. I'm not going to be one to say he's going to fail because, he doesn't have a lot of, previous, NFL head coaching experience. Listen, two of the last coaches that this franchise had their most success with didn't have a lot of head coaching experience in the NFL prior to being a head coach with the Philadelphia Eagles. Andy Reid, and I think he did pretty good for himself as a head coach in the NFL. He was the quarterback coach of Green Bay prior to being the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. No one knew who he was, right? Besides Brett Favre. No, who's this Andy Reid guy? Who's he? Well, they went on to have a lot of success with him, right? 5 NFC Championship game appearances, a Super Bowl appearance for the first time since 1980. They had a lot of success. A lot of great players were drafted by Andy Reid in that regime. A lot of great coaches were brought in by Andy Reid, that Reid coaching tree. A lot of success. I know it didn't end well with Andy Reid, but he had a lot of success here. As an Eagles fan, I saw more successful seasons with one head coach. It was Andy Reid, more so than any other head coach that I've seen this franchise have. And then Doug Peterson. No one knew anything about Doug Peterson. Speaking of the Andy Reid tree, right? He was a coordinator with Andy Reid with the Chiefs. No one knew who Doug Peterson. We knew who Doug Peterson was as a player. And when he was here right before when McNabb got drafted, Doug Peterson was a starter. And then McNabb, got the job, and Doug was his backup. That's how we knew Doug Peterson, right? Good old number 14. All right, but we didn't know him as a coach. He comes here, all right, first season kind of up and down. Then the next season they win a Super Bowl. Okay? Most success they've had in franchise history in the Super Bowl era, winning a Super Bowl, it was Doug Peterson that got it done. So I can't sit here with a straight face and tell you, Nick Sirianni, who's he? Because I've seen other coaches come in here, not just with the Eagles, but in other teams too, and have success. You have to have the foundation. You have to have that solid foundation. You have to have good coaches around you. You have to have good players in your system. It has to work. Listen, winning takes a lot of things. It takes a lot of luck. It takes health. Which, look, we were kind of the outlier back in 2017 when everyone was going down and we still won. But it takes a lot to win. And to have sustained success, it takes even more. But the ones that are willing to put the work in and work and build something from the ground up, those are the ones that have that success, that sustained success that we all want as NFL fans of a franchise. We want that sustained success. Yes, a Super Bowl is wonderful, but it would have been even better if they could have continued on in that path. I'm not saying win it every year, but be in the hunt every year. Be fighting for it. Be in the playoffs. Get to the division. Get to the conference title game again. Get to another Super Bowl again, right? Do those things that those dynasty-like teams do. And all those dynasty teams, they have to start somewhere. They start from the bottom. They work their way up. And it works for them, right? That's what we got to hope. As Eagle fans, that we have in Sirianni and in Jalen Hurts. That you have the quarterback and the coach in place. And now you just got to build everything else around that. You have to have that foundation, right? Defensive coordinator has to be good. And I think they have a good one in Cannon. We're going to see. We're going to see. I think they have a good one in place, right? But you need the foundation. It doesn't. You don't get here without building it. You just don't. So I'm willing to give this guy a shot. I don't know anything about him. I hear good things of what he did with Indianapolis over the years. Their offenses looked okay. I mean, they ran the ball a lot. They didn't have a tremendous amount of players at the skill position outside of T.Y. Hilton. I know when Andrew Luck was there, obviously they had the quarterback. They've been in flux a bit since he abruptly retired. But listen, we're going to see. We're going to see. I think they have a lot of young talent on this team, and we're going to take it as a game. I'm not going to give you I'm not going to give you a record, for what this team's going to be, a record prediction. Because look, I mean, there's a lot of things at play right now, right? You have a young coach, young quarterback. It's hard to give a prediction on the record because we really don't know what we have just yet, right? If I'm going to throw a number out there, maybe, I don't know, 7-9 win range in that range. Excuse me. And I would be okay with that as long as I see progress, as long as I see what the future looks like it could hold with these young pieces in play right now, okay? So anyhow, we play the Falcons week 1, 1 o'clock kickoff on Fox, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a good matchup, two pretty good offenses going at it. Obviously, the Falcons, another year with Matt Ryan at the helm there. You have Ridley, a really good young receiver. And they get Philly's own Kyle Pitts, a Gator, right? I'm a Gator fan. So I liked him, obviously, at Florida. The Falcons got a good one in him. They really do. A guy who's willing to work and put that work in. And he's going to be a great player in this league. I have no doubts about that. And I will root for him every week when he's not playing the Eagles. So I can't root for you this week, Kyle, but going forward, I wish you nothing but success. Again, guy with Philly roots and went to Florida. He's a Gator. So, it's going to be interesting to see how he does. It's going to be a tough offense to, look, you're going up against a pretty decent offense week 1 with a young defensive coordinator and schemes. So we're going to see. It could be a shootout type of game. I think it could be. Week 1's, though, you never know, right? But I think it has the makeup of a shootout type of game. I like the Eagles. Because I think our defense might make a few more plays than the Falcons' defense might make. Maybe we get a couple more turnovers in the game. I'll say this: I think the team that turns the ball over more will lose this game. And I think our defense could get a few turnovers on the Falcons, and more so than the Falcons. The Falcons' defense, we don't really know a whole lot about their defense. What we're hearing is they might not be that great. We'll see. We don't know much about the Eagles defense either. We don't know new defensive schemes, some new players, but I still, even with that said, I still think that the Eagles defense can make a few more plays in this game than the Falcons defense will. I think maybe get a few more sacks on Matt Ryan than the Falcons defense will get on Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts a little more mobile than Matt Ryan. So I think that could be a difference maker. And I think the Eagles win a close one, a shootout type of game. And I think they get a win right off the bat in the Nick Sirianni era here in Philly. I like the Eagles. Our birds to beat their birds in their stadium, okay? And we owe Atlanta, for the Hawks beating the Sixers. We owe them. We're going to get that division to Atlanta in baseball. We'll see. Phillies have been very inconsistent too. But anyhow, welcome back, NFL. Welcome back, Eagles Nation. Another season is upon us. It's going to be a fun year. Listen, I don't have a lot of lofty expectations on the year, but I want to see growth. I want to see growth out of a young coaching staff and players, including our quarterback, that number 1 right there, Jalen Hurts, and of course, the Slim Reaper. So happy to have Devonta Smith as a Philadelphia Eagle. At some point, I will get that midnight green number 6, jersey, and we'll wear it proudly week to week. Okay, everyone. Well, thanks for tuning into this first first episode of Season 8 of Season of the Fan. It's going to be a fun season, like I said. Going to have good time with good friends. Hey, it's great to see full stadiums. It's going to be great to have the fans at full capacity again. I thought it was cool seeing that on Thursday night in Tampa. Thank you, Tampa, for being there. It's funny. I saw you can never take the Eagle fan away, right? So I went to get some dinner on Friday night. Of course, Tampa Bay beat Dallas on Thursday Night Football to open the season. There was a guy coming out with a Mike Allstott jersey, and I and I looked at him and he said, "Thanks for being Dallas last night." Right? So, hey, Eagles win, Dallas loses is always a great week in my mind, right? So hopefully we can complete it on the good note with the Eagles getting a win and being ahead of Dallas early in the season, as early as it could be. It's still a nice thing, right? So anyhow, let's go Birds. Let's get this win, and we'll start the Nick Sirianni era on a good note, right? And before I forget, because this is another important aspect of the week-to-week vids, right? The Festive Four. Festive has, you don't know. Festive has been crunching the numbers like you haven't seen. No one crunches numbers like Festive, okay? Festive is very particular about these things. So Festive wants to have another winning season for the Festive Four. In a weekly 4-pack of winners, just winners. We don't care about the point spreads and this and that and the other thing. We just want winners, okay? Because at the end of the day, it's just about winning. It's about winning, right? The old Raider motto, just win, baby, right? It's a Festive, right? We need to get Festive like shades or something. Right? So anyhow, we're going to start week 1. The weekly Festive Four, so you might be able to win some shekels here week to week. Yeah, you keep tuned in on the Festive Four, right? In fact, Festive challenges Big Slim to an NFL pick one of these weeks, a 4-pack of winners. That's right, the old rivalry that Slim and Festive have together. And Slim, you down for that challenge, Slim? One of these weeks, you challenge Festive with a 4-pack of winners. Anyhow, let's get right to it. First of all, Festive likes Buffalo over Pittsburgh to win that game. A tough one there, but Festive likes Buffalo to get the win. Also, Rez will be happy and Niner Nation will be happy. Festive likes San Francisco over Detroit. Also likes Tennessee over Arizona. I have Tennessee in the WIP knockout pool, so we're going to see. Some years I'm out in week 1, but hopefully this isn't one of those years. So the Glenn McDowell WIP knockout pool. I got Tennessee this week, so hopefully hopefully they get a win. Shout out to Slim's family, Hoss and company, right? The tighten up. So we got the Titans to get a win this week, right? And then finally, in a tough one, in a rematch of the playoffs last year, Festive like Kansas City to beat Cleveland in Kansas. Always tough to win in Kansas City for a road team. And even though it's like revenge factor with Cleveland and everything, Festive thinks that Pat Mahomes and company are going to get a win in their home opener against the Baker Boys in the Cleveland Browns. And that is the Festive Four for week 1. And we are going to continue on every week. Again, if you want a chance at winning some shekels, right? I don't know if the captain watches these. The captain, you want to win some shekels, you might want to listen to Festive. All right, the Festive Four. We'll be back again next week with another Festive Four, but that is the Festive Four for week 1. We have an extra week now. I mean, the numbers that Festive has to crunch for an extra week. I mean, you can't contain Festive. Look, Festive it's all I can do to contain. Look how excited Festive. It's too much. Festive's just on edge, with these number crunching and everything. Wants to make sure you win some shekels. But if you lose, don't come after Festive. Festive's pretty quick. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. As always, go Birds. And I will be back at some point after this game. We'll have some post-game reaction, and we'll look ahead to next week, the home opener against Rez's Niners. All right, everyone. Take care. Bye.